can see the ICE officer in front of the SUV here in this video as that car accelerates, and that agent then, of course, opens fire. That woman killed.
The precedent here is very simple. You have a federal law enforcement official engaging in federal law enforcement action. That's a federal issue. That guy is protected by absolute immunity. He was doing his job.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to Jans Media 215. Today we got on the subject of an ICE agent who shoots a woman in the line of duty. Was it justified or was it wrong?
Fred, we are taking a closer look at what happened in Minneapolis today that led to a 37-year-old woman getting shot by an ICE agent. Now, it all started this afternoon during an ICE-related operation. The incident was caught on camera in multiple angles. Police say this video starts with the driver blocking the street. The driver is gesturing at ICE officers, and they start to approach her SUV. One agent goes to the driver's side door. You'll see him in a minute. He tries to open the door while another officer steps in front of the vehicle. She then starts to take off, appearing to turn, and then shots were fired. Take a listen. Yep, right there. She then continues to drive and she crashes seconds later. The incident is also shown from another angle. You can see the ICE officer in front of the SUV here in this video as that car accelerates, and that agent then, of course, opens fire. That woman killed was identified by the Minnesota Star-Tribune as Renée Good. The newspaper spoke with a woman who identified herself as Good's mother. The woman called Good, quote, one of the kindest people I've ever known.
Now listen. The woman act out on emotion, right? Not to say, point fingers and blame, but I just want y'all just to think of this from a law enforcement point of view, from someone who's not emotionally attached to the situation, right? And as someone who also spent time in jail for breaking the law, right? What we have here, as you can see, is first thing this lady just did was she pulled her vehicle in front of police officer actively pursuing criminals, right? Illegal immigrants, which are criminals. They came in here in America illegally. You established that, right? Now, why did she get involved? Why did she pull her car up? Is plain, right? It's plain to see is that because she was emotionally, because she felt some type of way, because she felt opposite of what the law enforcement hired by our government to do a job, she felt like they was in the wrong. So what she do? She tried to be smart. She tried to be a problem, right? And get in a way. What she didn't take account of the severity of the situation, the seriousness of the situation. All this could have been avoided. I believe that the cops were justified, because if you know the duty of a cop, right, is to enforce or protect and serve, right? So they was doing their service, right? They was hired to do a job. They was hired to get illegal immigrants off the streets, right? So when somebody's actively doing a job, which is a dangerous job, right? And then you put yourself in that situation, you didn't have to be there, but you put yourself in there. Now you in a vehicle, right? And the cops are telling you to get out of the vehicle. Ma'am, get out your vehicle. Ma'am, I need you to comply, right? Well, normally what happens when people resist is bad things happen. So not only did you not comply to with the orders of the cop, right? The authority of the cop, what you did was try to elude them. What you do, and by you trying to elude them, you have now put yourself in harm's way because you're operating a vehicle with a cop in front of you. Now you're endangering his life. So what do? They are trained to protect themselves, right? So once you came in contact, or once you try to make the mistake of fleeing the scene, you are now hitting the cop. So we are seeing the angles where she hit the cop. The cop shot back, right? And unfortunately, the young lady lost her life.
The precedent here is very simple. You have a federal law enforcement official engaging in federal law enforcement action. That's a federal issue. That guy is protected by absolute immunity. He was doing his job.
This is not the first time of civilians or people that don't agree with how ICE is operating try to intervene.
So back in June, ICE agents in Minneapolis attempted to arrest a man who refused to get out of his car. One of the officers, the same man involved in yesterday's shooting, then broke a rear window and reached inside the car to unlock the door. The driver accelerated, dragging the officer about 100 yards. So as you can see in this picture, the incident left the ICE officer with injuries. The officer fired his taser at the driver but was unsuccessful in stopping him. He was freed when the car knocked him out of the window. So
as you can see from the clip, as you heard from the clip, that he was dragged and another officer had to shoot him. Now, I'm not trying to finger point at who's to blame or who's not to blame. I'm just trying to get y'all to understand logic, right? And us as humans to understand logic. If a person's job is to detain criminals, right? Whether you consider them harsh criminals or not harsh criminals, right? The key word is criminals. And it's a job of the law enforcement to apprehend that criminal, right? So, and it strict laws are saying that you can't aid or abide, you can't interfere, you can't do all these things to stop the officers from doing their job, right? So why is it that we routinely find people who are now, because ICE agents are now throwing themselves in harm's way, throwing themselves into these police pursuits? You know what I'm saying? I don't know, right? But what I do know is that we have to stop and think and not act emotional. We can disagree on a lot of things that our government makes, right? But once we take it into our hands to then apply what we think is justice, to do things that we think is rational, which is turn out to be unrational, we end up in bad situations. There are numerous of cases, numerous of situations, numerous of circumstances where people are just throwing their logic or throwing common sense. They are not using common sense when it comes to law enforcement doing their job. You're supposed to report these things, right? If you see somebody or somebody's illegal and the agents are here to get them, why are we intervening? Why are we interfering in their police work? It doesn't matter if somebody's established a restaurant, established a business. If they did it illegally, it's wrong. That's like someone taking illegal money from drugs, robbery, whatever, and then trying to start something legal with it. You obtain it illegally. At some point, what we going to say, all right, enough is enough. When we going to let these guys do their job? Why are we stopping them from doing what we know is right? I don't understand that. I could pull up numerous of cases where this is going wrong. I don't know. You tell me. You put in the comment section. Tell me, was this justified? Was it wrong? But I need to understand from a logic point of view. Like, you tell me, show me, convince me of how she was right. The one guy, if you watched the whole video, the one guy said was BS. How was this BS? How is it that a cop defending himself is BS? When it is not considered being over aggressive? Like, I don't understand that. He hit the guy. The cop even was recording from his side of things was going on. The lady hit this guy. You can't lie. We can't not unsee it. She hit him. She absolutely wrong. She was wrong on multiple occasions. But because we are emotionally distraught over ICE agents, we fail to realize or see the logic or see what's really happening here. I don't get it. But again, I'm just here to report it. This is James Media 215, and we have to do better as a society. That's all I got to say about this. Love y'all, and I'm out. Peace.